Hey, good morning everyone. Welcome back to Redneck Coachworks. Been a while since I did a video, kind of letting it down here on the progress on the tall tee and everything else that's going on. Just been really busy. So I've got quite a bit done on the tall tee. Got another little project to do on it today. Kind of a different way of making a piece of sheet metal. I'm going to take you through that process, but here I'll take you and show you what we got done on the car so far. Okay, so where do I start? Open the door, I guess will work. Grab a light. Typical, not ready. Okay, so what I've got done on the inside, I've got some rear side panels made. I built a piece to cover the back, hinges for the trunk lid and everything. The top pieces are roll over into the little corner windows there. They were a real bitch to build. They're curved in 3 different directions and kind of a tight fit. I built little filler panels down in the corner on each side here to cover up the structure that was there. Getting quite a bit closer on the interior here. Just take you around to the trunk. Got the trunk latch installed. Had to make it a little aluminum escutcheon to adapt it. Latches. Comes up. I built an aluminum arm and bracket here to support it when it's open. It just takes a little flick of the finger there to let it down. What I'm working on now is the fuel tank access panel. Because the fuel tank has all of the fittings on top and the filler on top, I have to build a little panel into this rear deck lid, or trunk floor I guess you could call it. And this is dead center over top of the fuel filler. So what I plan on doing is taking a piece of steel and pushing it down in a cone shape about 1.5 inches for access to the filler cap here. So, and then it's going to have kind of a teardrop access panel to get to the fittings that'll be fastened down on top here. So anyhow, I'm going to get set up to make that piece and then I'll bring you guys back. So we're back again. What I have a 2x12 on the bottom. I have a chunk of 5/8 plywood on top. I have 2 screw holes that I put in here that will line the top plate to the bottom plate, well, the 2 pieces of wood. And then I have a blank of steel that I've cut out that's way oversized for the hole. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this sheet in between the 2. I'm going to put these 2 screws in to line it all up. And then I'm going to drill a row of holes fairly close together, probably 2 inches apart all the way around. Stay out towards the perimeter edge of this piece of steel so that it's got lots of steel to pull from. Once I have that all screwed down, I'm going to take a proper size socket for what I want for the center hole here. And we're going to go over to the press and we're going to see if we can press this cone shape in here. So it should be kind of interesting. We'll see what happens. Okay, here we are set up over at the press. What I've got is the piece of steel is sandwiched in between the 2x12, the piece of plywood. I've got screws about every 2 inches all the way around out at the perimeter. I put a center mark in here, and then the hole or the flat spot I want on the bottom is 1 3/4, which is this socket I have. I'm just going to line this up on my 4 marks. The best I can. And then I'm going to center the socket underneath the press so it goes all the way down evenly. We'll tighten this up. Hopefully nobody gets killed. And we end up with a nice little cone here. Just gotta, just a touch. Okay. I'm hoping that having this perimeter out so far, it's going to give me enough material to pull in to make this stretch, which I want to go down approximately 1.5 inches. I'm just going to go fairly slow, let the metal change shape. Kind of scary. You can see over here, it's starting to pucker the edge of the material. That's how much it's pulling on it. Watch, I'm going to run out of stroke on my press. Whew. Wow, it pushed a hole through the bottom of that piece of steel. Unbelievable. I never expected that. Wow. Okay, I guess we'll have to figure something else out here. That blows me away. So anyhow, once I get this out of here, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, here's what we have on the bottom side. It got a fair bit of cone shape, but nowhere near what I needed. We'll have to try this again using a different method, I guess. We'll have to see here. So once I figure it out, I'll get you guys back. Focus. Okay guys, I'm pretty impressed with this. It did a really nice job of stretching that down. It's not quite deep enough for what I need, so I'm going to have to try another one. I thought maybe it was because the edge of this socket was too sharp, but it's got a nice rounded edge on it. So I think what I'm going to try on the next one, I'm going to get a piece of steel all set up in here, get some pressure on it, and I'm going to take my torch and I'm going to heat it and try pushing down again and see how that works. Okay, we're all set up again. I've got a little bit of pressure on it. I don't want to put too much. And now I'm just going to try heating the center here. I got water and I got fire extinguishers, so I'm sure it's going to need some pretty even heat. Getting some force on it now. Just hope I can get a little bit more out of it before it pops through the center. Pretty tough to see what's going on. Like I said, I do have water ready. Oh. It's split on the side. Wow, that didn't help. So far this is a fail. I can bring you in here and show you. It's split right down next to the socket there. Not sure why, must be a weak spot in the steel. So anyhow, I'll pull it out and we can take a closer look. Okay, so this is really strange. I got less cone shape in it with the heat than I did without the heat. And this split in the side here really makes me wonder why it did that. I'm wondering if there was a flaw in this piece of steel, maybe a scratch or something that opened up. So think I'll get it set up. Again, I don't know if I should try with heat again, or if I should just try going without the heat. But it sort of makes you wonder how they can get such complicated press forms in factories. I'm only trying to take this down slightly and having issues with it. So, and I'm only using a 12-ton press. They use a 100-ton press in the factory. So anyhow, we'll try her one more time here. Not quite sure which way we're going to go about it, but we'll do it together. Okay, here we go with trial number 3. Now I know they say doing things exactly the same way and expecting a different outcome is the first sign of being crazy. So we're not doing that. What I did this time was I cut my blank and then I ran it through my planishing hammer and created a dome in it, pre-stretching it, in other words, just like you do for an English wheel, or with an English wheel or the planishing hammer when you're going to bead roll. So now I'm going to see how far this will press down before it explodes. I'm just hoping that that fire didn't weaken my jigs too much. I'm going to go fairly slow this time, let the steel have a chance to make its transition from flat to curved. So we'll just gently push down on her, see what happens. Getting a fair bit of load on it. It doesn't look like it's gone very much yet, and it's depressing the center pretty hard. I'm hoping we don't get a blowout here. Nobody's got hurt yet, so that's a good thing. Come on, baby. What is it? I Spider Garage says, boom, baby. Ooh, actually, we don't want a boom. Well, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think it's going further than it has. Just going to let it go here slowly. I had to change the screws because the other ones were too short. Every time I drilled through the steel, I drilled into the wood a little bit so the screws wouldn't hold anymore. We're getting quite the wrinkles on the edges here. Just taking my time. I really don't want to have to do this again or figure out a different way to make this work. So just going to let it sit here. So far no blowouts, guys, so I'm just going to let this sit here for a couple minutes, give it a couple more, and then I'll bring you back. If we have a blowout, we have a blowout, but I'll show you the finished product. Okay guys, we've been pushing on it here for about 5 minutes. Got some pretty nasty wrinkles on the outside edges over here. And I'm almost to the point where the jack is bypassing, so I keep hearing snapping and popping sounds. I don't really want to take it apart before it's done, but I might just do that just to see how much it's gone down and if it's enough or if I have to keep trying to push on it here. So anyhow, I might just release the jack and see what it looks like. Just worried about getting it back in the right spot and causing an issue. Things keep popping and creaking, but I know it's gone a lot further than the last two, so I think I'm just going to leave it here and just slowly keep pushing down on it and hoping that the third time's a charm, like I said. Okay guys, I was over at the workbench, and I just kept pumping on it a little bit at a time, and I heard a pop, and I see it's blowing out through the bottom again. So hopefully we got enough depth that it's going to work for me. If not, I don't know. I'll have to figure out a different way to do this fuel tank recess here. So anyhow, I'll go pull it apart and show you what we got. This is kind of strange. This is the one that I just did that had I left the longest. It's got the biggest deflection marks in it. The other thing I noticed is it kind of pulled material from one side more than the other. This is the first one we did, and they both have exactly the same amount of depression, 1 inch and 1 inch. So pre-stretching didn't help pushing it down. Kind of a strange happening there. So anyhow, if you guys have any ideas as to why pre-stretching or heating didn't make any difference and why this isn't working, leave a comment down below. And just kind of a short video here on trying to make this piece. So I'm going to carry on, come up with another plan, I hope, and see what happens from there. Fail. Okay guys, so what I did was I decided to save the last one we did there, and what I've done is I put the piece back in my jig, screwed it down without the top piece on, and then using my nylon hammers, I pounded this down more, got more of a cone shape to it, and now I've got it all trimmed down to the proper size, sanded up. Now I can cut the access hole in the trunk floor, the deck floor there, and make my access panel. Then this will get welded in, and the filler spout will stick up inside here. So all that work, about 2.5 hours for that little piece. So always fun.